A new Japan has emerged from the lost decades. Social demographics have changed as the society ages, rural towns disappear, and the gender gap widens. This traditionally insular market is also looking overseas for alternative products and partnerships. Let's find out what this means for your business. Grant Thornton's Richard Gruppetta is a true Japan expert, living and breathing the country for over 20 years, literally. He says Japan's new generation are very strong business people.
So the decision-making in Japan has become a lot quicker. There is still the need for consensus in a Japanese company, but what you find is the new economy of Japan, if you can call it that, is a lot more agile.
And would you say that Japan is now more open to overseas products?
Yes, certainly.
And overseas partnerships?
20 years ago, you couldn't enter Japan unless you had a partnership. Now it's a lot more easier. Government's been focused around a concept of internationalisation, opening the doors for foreign companies to operate there. Foreign GDP, for example, of the Tokyo economy is a bit over 15%. That is a big part of the local market. So the idea of entering the market as a foreigner is a lot more accepted and a lot more easier to do.
And when doing business in Japan, in the domestic economy,
Yep.
How does a place like Tokyo differ from, say, if you're doing business in Osaka
Yes.
or Sapporo in Hokkaido?
Yeah, when it comes to doing business in Tokyo, it is a global market, and you would treat it as if you were doing business in somewhere like New York, London to an extent. It's very big market. It's the home of decision makers. When working in somewhere like Osaka or Sapporo, it's very much a local business, and it's a lot more domestic in feel. Keep in mind, most decision making in Japan now is done in Tokyo. So even if the headquarters might be in Osaka, you'll find that the sales office or the buying office will be in Tokyo.
Now, you have a lot of experience in doing business all around Asia in your role. Do you think doing business in Japan is unique?
Japan is unique in that if you had to compare Asia to maybe the EU, look at the Japanese in a similar way of doing business with Germans or Swiss, being very much around detail, structure, and very organised. And the great thing about the economy or doing business in Japan is if you too are organised and detailed in your approach, you'll find quite a nice receptive response from Japanese business partners.
And how important are strategic alliances, joint ventures, partnerships in doing business in Japan?
Yeah, very good. The Japanese business environment is all about relationships and it's all about cross-shareholding. So going into an alliance with a Japanese company provides access to all their alliances as well. Rather than trying to start from scratch one by one, by partnering with a strong Japanese company, what you'll find is that you're buying into their alliances immediately.
What are your key tips for doing business in Japan?
First one is be humble. Humble and listen. So when you're visiting Japan, doing business, when you show humility, you'll gain a greater reception from your counterparts. The second thing would be focus on the relationship first. And remember that they're not looking at you for your returns, they're looking at if you're someone you can do business with. So humility, relationships. The third part is remember that a lot of the Japanese market is around market share. So if you design your business plan to be around helping create market share, you'll find greater reception as well. They're probably the three key tips. You can add a fourth, patience.